If we go back to ChatGPT, what do you use it for?
I don't know how to say this. I use it to fight with.
Welcome to Macpreneur, the show for seasoned solopreneurs looking to streamline their business on a Mac. Unlock the secrets to saving time and money with your host and technology mentor, Damien.
Hello. Today I have the pleasure to introduce MV Braverman. MV runs Inbox Welcome, an email deliverability and marketing consultancy that helps solopreneurs and small businesses take their emails from sent to seen. She's been a Mac user forever and is pretty much all Apple, though many of her clients are not. MV loves breaking down email marketing and tech challenges into simple, actionable steps that work for anyone. MV, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm ready to geek out.
So let's jump into the meat of the matter and discuss about your current tech setup and especially which Mac are you using today to run your business?
So I have two. Right now I am on my Mac Mini M2 with an ultra-wide display. And I also have a 2019 MacBook Pro, which at this point is mostly my backup when my continuity camera refuses to work. That's mainly it. Yes, I have an iPhone 15 Pro, and it is basically all Apple here. I only own one Microsoft product, which is my keyboard, oddly enough.
So how come that you prefer the Microsoft keyboard over the Apple one?
It's the ergonomic one. I genuinely do not understand how people can do this all day. I love this ergonomic keyboard. Once I got used to it, it's amazing. So yes, this is the one Microsoft product I will keep buying until they don't make it anymore.
Yeah, so for the listeners who might not know what this keyboard is about, is really like it's the if you take the keyboard, imagine you cut it in half, and then if I remember correctly, the keys are also in a slope, right?
The keyboard is sloped, and it just gives a more natural positioning to the hands.
Exactly. So you have your hands really separated rather than having to have them both together, and they're not flat. They are really going up a little bit like some mouse were ergonomic, with you have tilted mouse and stuff like that.
I don't actually. I use a trackball. I am super old-fashioned. Yeah, it's not a lot of choices, but this is the stuff that works for me. And I realized when I was preparing for this just how conservative I have become with my hardware. And I signed up for a whole bunch of different SaaS products. I mean, I swear, like, my 1Password is full to the brim with logins, but I'm very careful about what I download to my Mac, and I'm very careful about my hardware.
So in the intro, I mentioned that you're using Macs for a very, very long time. So have you always had this Microsoft keyboard since the very beginning? So you never use an Apple keyboard?
So taking us back in time, I actually had to go look it up when OS X was announced. So I used previous versions, but at the time that it was announced, I had been a Unix sysadmin and I was on Linux all the time. So when they said it's BSD under the hood, I was like, sign me up. And I am never looking back. The combination of a great GUI and an ability to fire up terminal and do Unix things is perfect. I do not believe that at the time Apple in fact had any keyboards, and I don't remember when I found this Microsoft keyboard. It's been a long time, and it was, I think at the time I was like, I gotta try Dvorak, I gotta try all these things. So I was experimenting quite a bit. Now I'm pretty set in my ways on this.
So did you remap the Windows key to the command key, and do you have stickers to?
It's actually pretty, like, it's the Windows key is the command key. It's pretty equivalent. I don't think my function keys do anything. It would be nice if I could remap, but I realize that I'm no longer willing to go down these rabbit holes. And I know that there's now a globe key. I have absolutely no idea what it does, so I hope it's not important.
Yeah, I've never used the globe key. I think it's used if you press 2 times on the globe key, you can invoke a dictation. There are a few things like that that you can use with the globe key. But yeah.
Like I map that to something else if I needed to. That's okay. So I'm glad I'm not missing anything. That's good to know.
To be honest, I'm also unfaithful to Apple keyboard. I have a Logitech keyboard.
They're tiny. I don't need the clicky that my offspring do, but I need a little bit of tactile.
And also what I like about my Logitech keyboard is that it has a 3-way Bluetooth pairing. So number 1 is my work partition on the iMac. And then I have a second partition, which is for the personal stuff. And so when I switch to that other partition, I use the second Bluetooth radio. And I have the third Bluetooth radio. I don't remember now if it's the iPhone or the iPad, because I always have both in front of me. I think it's the iPad. And so it was very, very useful in the past, but now with the ability to actually go with the mouse, with my trackpad from my iMac directly to the iPad, I don't need that.
We stick with what works.
And so you have the Mac Mini, right? So for how long have you had this one?
I think I got it a couple of years ago. I think right when it came out. So I ended up with a 2019 MacBook Pro. So in 2020, obviously everything was offline. I don't know how things were where you are, but in the US, everything was shut down, especially in California. So I had to hand off my 2015 MacBook Pro to my son for school. And they just announced the M1. I was like, I don't know, are they going to really stick with it? I'll just go with the last Intel. I am kind of regretting this decision now. Although at the time there weren't any, there were no apps that supported that architecture yet. So in retrospect, after investing so much time and money, they probably would stick with the M architecture. But yeah, so I'm happy to have the newer M. It's working for me.
Yeah, they didn't. They missed a processor. They went directly from the M2 to the M4 on the Mac Mini, and I think it's going to be more common in the future. I don't expect that all models or all Macs will go through all the processor versions. For me, it makes sense that they would wait a bit. But if you have to compare your M2 Mac Mini to the Intel MacBook Pro, what's your experience?
I confess, I went. Usually when I invest in the MacBook Pros, I go for the Macs, and I would like to complain a little bit about how impossible it is to now upgrade anything. So you have to do everything up front. I remember I have replaced the hard drive in my 2015. I'm pretty sure. I would not try to crack any of my stuff these days, which I'm a little sad about. But yeah, so I maxed out the hard drive, I maxed out the memory, but on this one, I actually went with the lowest model because I was like, most of my stuff is in the cloud. So I'm not regretting the hard drive. I am regretting the memory. I should have maxed out the RAM, is what I'm really finding.
When do you notice that you need more?
Well, when I boot up and it tells me that I'm out of memory. But also, I have recently discovered the Mac Apps subreddit, which is a very dangerous place. So I have been trying some of these things that people are raving about, and I'm realizing just how much resources they actually take. So there's this super cute app called Typibara. It's a cute little capybara that types along with you. It's adorable, but it's taking up a decent chunk of my limited resources. So sadly, Taipei Bar has to go a lot of the time. Like, I'm used to being able to add things I need to login items, and now I'm very careful about that. So that's my main regret, truthfully.
Yeah. And so how much memory do you have now on the Mac Mini?
It's 8 gigs. The Mac Mini is 8. I know. It was the lowest. I have 16 on my MacBook Pro, which is a lot older. Believe me, I am kicking myself a bit.
Yeah. I would say that even in 2020, 8 gigabyte as minimum or as the default memory for a computer, that was a bit cheap on Apple's part.
I mean, my kids are gamers and they assure me that like 8 or 16 is pretty decent, which I'm like, I've done tech support quite a bit. I'm like, it doesn't sound right, not from my memory of what it's like to use Windows, but it's not my problem.
Okay, so let's switch gear, and now let's talk about the applications that you rely upon to run your business.
So I looked at it with a decidedly unscientific eye, and I realized that I basically have like 4 or 5 things that I absolutely use constantly. So 1Password is my password manager. I highly recommend it. My browser, which is Arc. I'm going to put an asterisk to it. I love a lot of things about it, but it does seem to be no longer as developed. So I am cautiously looking for an alternative, but it has some features that I absolutely love. Like, I don't know about you, but I do not understand why the default dock is at the bottom, because we have a lot more real estate side to side. So one of the first things I always do is move dock to the side. So the same way, why are the tabs at the top when they're taking up real estate, where in Arc, the tabs are on the side, which makes a lot of sense to me. It also has this amazing feature of auto-archiving my tabs, because I have the dreaded disease tabitis, where I open tabs and I never close them. So in the past, I am very embarrassed, slightly embarrassed to admit this, but before Arc, I would actually switch between Firefox, Chrome, and Brave, I think, every month. And I would open my new browser and I would cover my eyes and just close all the windows and start fresh. So now it's just like, if I haven't opened it in a week, it's probably not important. Let's archive it. Also, renaming my downloads is surprisingly fabulous. I no longer have files that are called like final draft V5. They're actually named something that makes some sense, which is really awesome. So Arc is like 90% of my time.
So is this a default feature of Arc for the downloading?
It's one of their AI features. I don't use any of the others. This is the only one that I actually use. I think you have to turn it on. Then my other big apps are Slack, ChatGPT. That's pretty much it. Oh, Zoom, of course. Sorry. I do all my meetings in Zoom. So I do have others. I can't commit to either Evernote or Notion and other things, but these are like 90% of my time. I also, the unappreciated and unheralded old school Apple app is Stickies, which I really like. I have a lot of actual Post-it notes. I don't use them that much, but I really do use the fake Post-it notes. And one really cool feature about it is you can pin it, so it does not, you can't get rid of it. And, well, I know you're going to ask this later, but one thing I discovered recently is you can now save them to your Apple Notes, which is amazing. So now they're kind of synced.
If we go back to ChatGPT, what do you use it for?
I don't know how to say this. I use it to fight with. It's really like, mainly it's a brainstorming partner. So I will never put out content that I just say, ChatGPT, write about this, or just tell it, write me something. But I will say, Here's my info dump. Here's like what I'm thinking. These are my random things. Please help me organize this. Give me feedback. How can I structure this for a LinkedIn post? I ask it to take on a couple of personas of people whose work and style that I respect and say, well, how would they say this? And so I go back and forth a lot, but it's really helpful. With actual humans, we have that whole, you should have 5 positive interactions to 1 negative one. I don't have that problem with ChatGPT. I can just say, this is nonsense. Do better. And sometimes it does better.
Have you tried the rating technique or the ranking technique where you ask it to rate itself on its output?
Ooh.
Have you tried that?
I should. I'm a little scared of this. I feel at this point we have so many AI tools, like for job application, you write your resume with AI, you submit it to an AI. It's going to be like that classic video of 2 Google Homes talking to each other. At this point, I think we're getting to that point. So I'm not sure if I want to ask ChatGPT to rate itself, but I might ask it like, what would such and such person think of what you just said or something like that. I like at least some human in the loop at some point.
I used to use ChatGPT to help me with finding titles for the episodes. Now I find them myself. But so I had a very elaborate prompt about what makes a viral or a very appealing title or stuff like that. And then it would spit out a bunch of options. And then I would tell it, right, on a scale between 1 and 10, 10 being the most, what did I say? I had a word, captivating or compelling or something like that. So on a scale between 1 and 10, 10 being the most appealing, how would you rate those? I would have selected a few, or I would have combined and myself created some variations. And it's funny because he created titles for me, supposedly through a template, but then afterwards, this one is a 5, this one is a 4, hilarious. This one is a 7, this one is an 8.
I mean, it's good to be self-aware. I would ask it, like, what would my ideal customer or ideal listener think of this? And give me, like, fake real quotes in the voice of customer. It's kind of helpful.
And have you tried playing with the latest model, so the O3 Mini, the reasoning ones?
A little bit. O3 Mini, I thought it was terrible. I thought it was stupider than the others that I'm used to. O3 was interesting, but I did not have the patience to wait for it. So I'll probably play with it, but I'm actually pretty happy with how much it has learned about me. So O4 is usually pretty sufficient for me. Again, I do have a paid account, so and then I look at the memories and saved, and I'm like, why? But it's working.
Yeah, so I've been using O1 Mini to proofread the captions for the podcast, so for the video version of the podcast, which goes to YouTube. So just so we are recording the video using Squadcast, and then it will go into Descript for the editing. And I don't know if you have experience with Descript. The transcription is not that good, actually. Maybe it's my accent. I don't know. Maybe it's the topic.
That surprises me.
And it tends also to hallucinate in the transcription. Yes. So
really?
From time to time, it is inventing words, completing sentences. So it's making up sentences or half sentences that I never spoke, or that the guest never spoke. And so I have to clean a bunch of things, and obviously, and not obviously. Sometimes you need like a well thought out, right? Usually you have to put well and then a symbol, right? And it's all together, right? But it would have been transcribed without, so all separated. And I was fed up of needing to do that, to correct that manually in the script, because every time you, even though it looks like a word processor, and it's very good to select sentences or words and press delete, as long as you have to delete stuff, very easy. But to correct stuff, you have to press the letter C, and then you have a pop-up that appears. You have to change the text, and then it asks you, do you want just this ones, or do you want to replace all? It's a mess. And I would say 90% of the time it works. And then for some reason, 10% of the time, it will take two words that were next to each other and will collate them. And then I have to recorrect again. I was like so fed up of losing so much time trying.
Tell it it's English and not German, where they just smush words together and make a giant new one.
So one day I decided, okay, let's export the captions as an SRT file, and let's see which of those AI tools is capable of proofreading an SRT file, a .srt file, and keeping it as a .srt or a SRT format. So for people who don't know the SRT format, you basically have timestamps. They are all numbered. So you have number 1, and then you have from, let's say, 0 hour, 0 minute, 0 seconds to 0 hour, 0 minute, and then 5 seconds. And then underneath, you maybe have 2 sentences, the sentences that are spoken during the first 5 seconds of the recording. And then you have a bunch of things. And usually when I have a 20-minute video, it's roughly 400 timestamps. And yeah, I played a little bit with ChatGPT, with Claude, and with Gemini. Gemini, forget about it. It is totally incapable of understanding.
I do like Notebook LM, but Gemini is a joke.
ChatGPT 4.0, like Gemini, couldn't get it. I needed to go actually 01, and 01 Mini they were working okay.
Interesting.
For some reason, 03 Mini is lazy. So if I gave it the 400 timestamps, it would spit out 50, 60. And so I reduced the number, and again, 1 out of 2, it doesn't complete the job. It's like I give him 100 timestamps, he spits out 70, and then he says, and the rest will be the same. So I was like, what's happening? And so I have to go with now I'm going back to 01, because 01 does the job. But 01 does the job, and it takes roughly 4 minutes, 5 minutes for every 100 timestamps. Right? And I realized the more timestamps I give it, the more it starts to combine stuff. And sometimes once I gave it 400 timestamps and I ended up with 350 something. It like combined stuff. It was completely over the place. But imagine like 5 minutes for every 100 timestamps for an episode of 20 minutes is actually 20 minutes. 20 minutes to get the proofread.
That sounds awful. I mean, honestly, I would go back to the source and just try to. Have you run it for the Whisper and see if it does any better?
Mac Whisper, much better. But the problem with you're right. I could go with Mac Whisper, but then I don't have Mac Whisper it works well for monologues, but not for interviews. it is not capable of splitting the speakers. But I have found a solution in the end, and it's Claude. Claude AI, I give it these 100 or 150. Well, Claude AI is a smaller token window. It acts.
It is a larger window.
For the input, but not for the output. So, yes. So,
Really?
So Claude AI, you can feed it. I could feed it the entire caption file. But because it's only capable of spitting out 4K or 8K of output, because the input is sometimes, it's
Really? I don't use it very much, but it gave me like freaking novels when I was trying to create some things. That's so interesting.
I use the free version of Claude and not the paid version. So maybe
Okay.
there is a
I think
limit
that might be
in
Yeah.
the tokens for the output. But Claude is super fast. I give it the 100 timestamps and spitting out the proofread one. Never has it changed stuff, compressed stuff. Claude, I'm really impressed by how well it's capable of handling language.
Interesting.
So I'm still not yet paying because I managed to do this my 4 thing for proofreading the SRT, and then Claude gets closed on my in my browser, and then 1 week later I go back to it to do that.
Hey, if it works, it works. I do have like a couple of third-party tools like Merlin that use multiple models. Be also worth trying, but it sounds like if the free thing is working, then that's great. The paid one will not be a whole lot better.
Well, the paid version of Claude gives access to a bigger model, if I remember correctly. I have the smallest model that they offer. I don't have access to projects in Claude. Have you played with that?
I like the idea. It's sort of like Canva projects and folders where like I like the idea of putting things in projects, and then I never do. I just start new chats all over the place. But a lot of other places have swiped. Actually, ChatGPT now has projects. Pretty much everyone has swiped it projects at this point. They're all just stealing from each other.
You mentioned Notebook LM. What do you use it for?
I dump a whole bunch, and I am supposedly, so I'm a Google Workspace user, admin. I get paid for it. I pay for it. I'm a big fan. I hope that unlike the rest of its babies, Google does not kill this one.
Yes, me too.
But I like it because, and I don't do that whole make the podcast to talk to each other, but like I can add a whole bunch of YouTube videos, or I can dump like transcripts from a course and have it help me summarize things, or a whole bunch of sources. And it's a lot less creative than other models are, and just is able to hold so much. So I supposedly I'm going to be getting access to the larger one even, although I don't think I need it, but I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Yeah, for listeners, if you are also on Google Workspace, the good news, if we can say it's a good news, is that Google has decided that rather than waiting for us to sign up for Gemini, the Gemini plans, exactly.
Come to you, whether you want it or not. I mean, just say that the subreddits are full with, how do I turn this off?
The issue is that I've looked into that, is that I don't know if it's smart or sneaky. I think both at the same time. But basically, they've combined Gemini and smart suggestions or smart capabilities in all their Google products. So in Gmail, you have auto-completion, right? Or when you start typing a sentence, it will suggest the end of the sentence. Even if you are on the first line of your email message, it will show you hi, first name of the recipient, right? And you just tab and it's written for you. This is now linked with Gemini. So if you say, I don't want Gemini, you don't get these features either. You don't get the ability to have calendar entries created based on what is found in an email. This is also one of the smart things.
Which is not very predictable either. Like, why can't you just give me a button to add this to my calendar? So what you're saying basically is that Gemini is like the Clippy of 2025.
Yeah, and actually so if you are an admin, I'm an admin as well for Google Workspace, you can, I think there was a date, I don't remember, there was a cutoff date through which as an admin, you could decide whether or not the users would have those smart things off by default or on by default. But I don't remember what happened. I think I didn't do anything special. But then when I logged in one day, I got a pop-up asking me, do you want to keep using those smart things? And it was well written that Gemini was linked to that. And if I said no, I would not have Gemini, but I would not have all the things that I rely upon now on in Gmail and other apps. And so I turned it on, and I don't know, I have mixed feelings about now Gemini being inside, the thing.
It's not good. It lies. I asked it to help me with Sheets formula. It lied. Like, how can you lie about making a formula for a product you should know everything about?
Yeah. So at all times now in Gmail, when I'm composing a message, I have like in light gray, I think it is Option H or Command H. There is showing me a keyboard shortcut and then a help me write. And I was composing a message in French. I was replying to one of my French-speaking clients. And so I said, okay, let's try it. So it was suggesting me to do help me write. I push the keyboard shortcut and then it tells me, sorry, I'm not available in French. It's like, but you see that I'm writing in French, right? It's a reply to an email that was written in French. The beginning of the email is in French. Why do you suggest?
But it said help me write. It didn't say aidez-moi.
Why do you suggest something that you can't do and then complain afterwards? I was like, that's really bad user interface. But on the flip side, I had a client who sent me a screenshot of an issue on her phone. It was actually an email that she received, so maybe you could shed some light on that one. But basically, she received an email, and I suspect it's from an Outlook. It was sent by Outlook. But then in the mail app on an iPhone, there was all the header text, right? She couldn't read properly the email. So I took the screenshot that my client sent me. I cropped so that there wouldn't be any personal information. I gave that picture to ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT, what's the problem? What's the potential problem? Why does this happen? And so, blup, a very nice explanation, right? Very, very long. I took that.
Accurate?
No, it made sense, actually. It made sense, total sense. Mm-hmm. And actually, it was covering more ground than what I had anticipated. But I copy-pasted the answer from ChatGPT into the Gmail message, my reply. And then I asked, because it was in English, I asked, help me write. And the response that it crafted based on the input from ChatGPT was pretty good. I altered maybe 20%. I added a few things. I changed some wording because it didn't sound like me. But I was really, for once, I was like, wow, Gemini, 1 point, you get a star, you get a golden star from me today.
I wish you would tell me, because it's actually kind of hard to get through the headers in Apple Mail, which I like to look at headers a lot. Interesting. When you don't want them, it gives them to you. When you
Yes.
do want them, it doesn't. That's great.
Basically, the answer from ChatGPT was that there could have been a corruption, right? That the email message might have been corrupted, and that it could have been when receiving it or while going through the different hops, the different servers, or it could have been also that the issue was with the sender. And the last thing that it recommended, and then I recommended to my client, was to double check if the issue arose with the same sender, and then ask the sender to double check, okay, which email client they are using to send those messages and stuff like that. So, but it was mostly common sense, but it helped me actually save time coming up with the text. I'm a pretty slow email writer, and I'm a bit, how do you say, perfectionist. So I overthink every sentence, and I can spend an hour on an email reply to a client that if I had just used dictation or voice memo, right?
No.
In less than 5 minutes, it would have been done. But when it's the written word, I'm super picky.
Yep.
Very good. So let's go to the next section of the show. You already alluded about the haha moment. Do you want to continue with what you had, or do you have another one that you want to share?
I don't know if I have anything more that's like really recent, truthfully. But yeah, so I discovered that I can tell stickies to save to my Apple Notes. And I think that we kind of underappreciate the need for like these ephemeral daily notes of just like, I'm just going to scribble this down and it doesn't need to be saved forever. I don't need to structure it for Notion or Evernote or whatever. Like same way I sometimes have to, because I do back and forth with ChatGPT a lot. So like, kind of want to save this one thing way back when that was actually good, but it won't let me pin stuff, which drives me crazy. But I can just copy and paste it to a sticky. And so now I can save it in Apple Notes so I can see it on my other device, which is great. And this isn't recent, but I think a lot of people don't know about this, and I keep suggesting it to people. I get asked a lot, like, I don't want to keep paying for Workspace anymore. Like, how do I get my email? Like, I want a business email, but I don't want to pay for Workspace. And if you are a paying iCloud user, like I pay 99 cents a month. But no, actually I pay $2.99 now. But if you're a paying iCloud user, you can get up to 5 domains hosted by Apple for you included. And they do really good with authentication. So like, I'm like, if you're on all Apple and you don't want to spend money on Workspace, just do this. It's great. I do recommend it. And of course, I mean, I will always give a plug for passwords. I know that now there's a password manager, but actually my recent discovery is that it's not going to do what I need it to do. You can't share passwords with anyone who's not in your secret group. So I can't ask my clients to securely share passwords with me, which is what I really need. So I still recommend a third-party password manager, but you should use a password manager. Like, Time Machine and Password Manager are 2 things you absolutely must take advantage of. I'll get off my soapbox. I talk about this a lot. But, I mean, I think we both helped someone in SPI, right? Whose hard drive was, like, she lost everything.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, when you don't have a strong backup strategy, people need to go through the loss of important documents to, unfortunately, to realize that, yes, we need a better backup strategy. Very good. If you were in charge of the Mac division at Apple, what would be your first priority?
Oof. I had a funny answer, and then I have actually, this would be an awesome answer. I mean, my quality of life funny answer of what I wish is like, I get random bings and dings on my Mac, and I have no idea where they came from. If it could just zip me over to where this came from, which tab it was or which app, that would be fabulous. But my serious answer is, I mentioned that Arc is my favorite browser. I really like it. It has some quirks. But overall, it set a high bar, but it's really not being developed right now. So what I really wish they would do is just give up on the Safari business. Just accept that Chromium is the way, but we don't like Chrome. Take over Arc and make it Apply. That would be my absolute dream.
Yeah, I must say that I'm using Arc as well. But it's more my, how can I say, my Scratchpad browser, my research browser. Yes.
What is your
my standard browser? I don't have a default browser. I'm using them all. I'm using Safari for the things that I want to be able to easily synchronize with my iPhone and my iPad, and that are usually Apple related. And then I'm using Google Chrome because I'm on Google Workspace Business, and then I have a personal Google account, we have a family Google account, and so I have different profiles, and that's perfect for that.
You can do it in Arc. I do it.
But it thinks can you sign in with a Google account and have it synchronized with the Google account? No.
You would, but you can use the same profile on multiple devices. And even supposedly on your iPhone, I haven't managed.
But what I'm really interested in is to have something that synchronizes through Google Server, right? So for that you need Chrome. There is no choice. But then I have Firefox for whatever I do client work related. I have Firefox because it's the browser that is most supported for when I teach online for one of my clients. So for one of my clients, they recommend to use Firefox over Chrome and over Safari and Edge. And so I've decided, okay, let's say because anyway.
I did not see that coming because usually it's the other way. 95% of the time.
And here we're talking about specifically about a tool called Big Blue Button. Right? Big Blue Button is a online teaching classroom kind of thing. It offers capabilities like Zoom, but it's more tailored towards online training. And actually, that's my favorite platform for providing online training is Big Blue Button. And that works better. It's more stable on Firefox versus all the others. And I suspect it's because Big Blue Button it's an open source software.
Interesting. Have you tried Zen Browser? I've heard about it. It uses Firefox engine, but yeah, it's an open source project, which apparently is pretty awesome. So I'm going to be trying it out. But I still need the Chrome extensions, unfortunately. So I'm stuck in some ways. So that's my wish list. Not going to happen, but it would be awesome.
So thank you very much, MV, for sharing how you're using your Mac to run your business.
Thank you for having me. It's a topic I don't get to talk about very much, so it's really nice to be able to share a little bit.
Very good. So where can people find you online?
So I am most active on LinkedIn as a social platform. MV Braverman. Pretty sure you will not find multiple of me. And my website is inboxwelcome.com. And I do use email quite a bit. So mv@inboxwelcome.com is a great way to get a hold of me.
Perfect. I will put all those information in the show notes. And so if, like MV, you would like to share how you are using your Mac to run your solopreneur business, it's simple. Just visit macpreneur.com/apply. If you are already on Podmatch, just click on the button and you will land on the show profile. Otherwise, fill the application form and I will get back to you within a few days. Once again, it's macpreneur.com/apply. In the comments below, please share your main takeaway from this episode, and if not done yet, please subscribe to my channel so you will get more helpful tips on how to run your business on your Mac. And until next time, I'm Damien, wishing you a great day.
Thank you for watching the Macpreneur podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, please leave a comment and share it with a friend right now.